Every boat, or most boats, have a person in them. Most rowing shells have a person in the boat who does not row, and that person is called a coxswain. It's spelled Cox, C-O-X, swain, but it's pronounced coxswain. And that person is the only person who's looking toward the direction the boat is traveling. Rowers, by their nature, travel with their backs toward their destination. So people that canoe and kayak many times feel, that rowers are of a lower species because who would row, who would travel, it'd be like walking backwards down the sidewalk. But it's the nature of rowing that it's actually not a pulling sport. We're actually not pulling ourselves toward our destination. We're actually pushing with our legs. So it's a pushing sport, and we're pushing with our legs to move the boat towards the destination. But as a result, you need somebody. It's desirable to have somebody looking toward the direction that we're traveling, and that's our coxswain. The coxswain is essentially the captain of that boat. All of this stuff goes back to whaling, and whalers would put these boats out with a harpoonist, and they had a coxswain. That was the person that was running the tiller, and they had rowers, and they used many of the same commands and served many of the same functions that we do in a modern rowing shell. So what we've done is, with our club, is we put together a program to help people, because again, we are a club. We're not a team. We don't have in collegiately or scholastically, and when I coach the high school team, we have little people who only cox, who only act in this capacity, and so we have a whole special program for them, and we'll even have a coach that's dedicated to their training and to working with them in terms of helping us with practices and planning for races and whatnot. So that's how it works on the team basis. But in a club, we basically are adults, and we've all come here to row. So most of us want to get in boats when we come down and pull on oars and move boats around and get exercise and have fun rowing. But it's necessary that somebody be steering the boat. And since we are not a team and we don't have individuals that have joined specifically to do that, we need to, each of us, be able from time to time to get in that coxswain seat and take command of the boat. So we've developed a training program for everybody in the club to help them understand what a coxswain's role is, how they need to maneuver the boat, because we work on a creek and on a river that has commercial traffic, it has pleasure traffic, it has big barges and tugs moving around. We need to understand the rules of the road. We need to understand how to operate a boat safely in an environment that can be surprising at times, that can be kind of crowded, can have a lot going on. Our club members need to understand the rules of the road and how to safely navigate through that. They also need to understand the water itself. We have currents in the river and the creek. We have tidal movement in the river and the creek. We probably have a 4 or 5 foot tide here twice a day. All of that changes how the water's moving. A coxswain needs to understand that. We also, because it's a creek that has had for hundreds of years a lot of commercial use, there's not surprising a lot of stuff in the water. And there's some pretty threatening stuff in the water in places. So the coxswain needs to know where to go, where not to go. All of that is stuff that we've incorporated in this training program for our coxswains. The other part of it is how to evaluate rowers in the boat, how to call drills, how to give commands for the boat to start, to stop in an emergency situation. And finally, we're helping people to understand how they need to establish themselves as a coxswain. The coxswain is the commander of the boat. The coxswain needs to understand that and communicate in a way that's respectful, but but forceful. You know, they need to command respect. They need to be respectful of the rowers, but they also need to command respect from the rowers. And they also need to understand. They come to understand through this program when they're rowing and they're relating to a coxswain, some of the concerns and some of the things that coxswains have to do, so they're not mystified by that either, and they're able to cooperate as rowers properly with a coxswain. So that's the program.